Gongchik. So it's statement 8. Statement 8 in some ways connected to statement 7 before. Because statement 8, it says, one should take the characteristics of the deities taught in the sutras and tantras as most important. One should take the characteristics of the deities taught in the sutras and tantras as most important. So here, it is, this statement was said by Kyobpa Rinpoche. So remember, like yesterday's statement is emphasizing the necessity to understand that despite how, especially secret mantra Buddhas, the yidams in secret mantra, despite how they may look on the surface, don't think that they appear that way to go along with the confusion of sentient beings. Right? Of course, they appear that way in some ways related to how sentient beings are, but it's not to go along with the confusion of sentient beings. In fact, they appear the way they appear in order to counteract the confusions of sentient beings, the afflictive emotions of sentient beings. So when we then visualize ourselves as secret mantra idams, with these, rather unusual appearances, unusual actions, it might seem like, oh, they are like stabbing a being or they are in sexual union. It should not be understood as somehow validating our ordinary way of behaving. It should understand that, the forms of secret mantra is a skillful way of nonetheless similarly working with actualizing the 112 Buddha qualities, those marks and signs. Right? So following from that then, here, this statement is saying, then the deities, the idams that we focus on, the principal ones, should be based on what's found in the sutras and what's found in the tantras. Instead of what? Instead of focusing on forms of deities, forms of Buddhas, form of secret mantra Buddhas that arise in the vision of this great Mahasiddha or that great Lama, things like that. Kyobpa is not necessarily saying, like the visions that arose for some Mahasiddha or some great Tibetan Lama. He's not denying that there is authenticity in that. But he's saying, don't place primary focus on that. Those could be secondary. The main focus should be what is taught in the sutras and tantras. So the opposite position is, there are many who take the bodies of Tathagatas and Bodhisattvas that they have seen in their visions or dreams as their principal deity. So especially in the 12th century, and even today, I think people get very excited, when they say, oh, this great Lama had this vision. In this vision, he saw this deity. Then he wrote a sadhana. Oh, we should practice this deity now. Oh, that great, being that great master, he saw, actually this deity, is this form, that form, 2 hands extra. Ooh, very hot, I'm sure, if you hear it now, like maybe 2-3 hours away, some great Lama is going to give a very special empowerment. He just realized this. He saw this vision, this form of Manjushri. Very special, very special. Oh, I gotta go, We get excited by things like that. In part, I think we get excited by things like this because we want to kind of imagine living among great beings, right? You read so much about Milarepa's life, this happened, that happened, Naropa, this happened, that happened, Then we feel like, over here, nothing is happening, Then when you hear, oh, there's this great being, it's the same how Christians, get excited by this faith healers, this pastor, they are like, making, people who can't walk, start walking, go to these big like Bible revivals, healing the sick and everything. People get excited, But here Kyobpa Rinpoche said, no, please don't do this. Principally, he says, he's not saying completely those things are fake. He's not saying that. He's saying our focus should be what is taught in the sutras and tantras. So let's look at Khenpo Kunpal's commentary. Concerning the painting of, erecting, or meditating on deities and so forth. So here deities is like these idam deities and so forth of either sutra or tantra until one has attained omniscient wisdom, meaning Buddhas. Until you have become Buddhas, one still has obscurations in one's mind stream. And therefore, you should not perceive appearances of meditative experiences, dreams, and so forth as important, especially if they arise in your own visions, your own dreams, your own meditative state, seeing the deity in this way, that way, or the deity talking to you. Don't rely on that. Except for what is definitely according to the sutras and tantras, one should not take other teachings as most important or correct out of trust. Instead, one should take the characteristics of the deities just as they are taught in the sutras and tantras, where they are taught correctly through omniscient wisdom, as most important. So here it could also mean, even with regards to these visions of great masters, contemporary or recently, you should still evaluate those visions, those forms, with regards to, by referencing the characteristics that are taught in the sutras and tantras. Because those instructions are most important. So don't oh, my great Lama says, this is something very special. He is only sharing with me. Who doesn't like to feel special, But then, are you here to feel special? Or are you here to actualize the two bodhicittas? This is because there is nobody superior to the all-knowing one, the Buddha. Thus Maitreya, the Lord of the 10th stage, also said, like someone with eyes sees, relying on a lamp, a lightning bolt, a jewel, the sun and the moon, in the same way, relying on the sage, the Buddha, who creates the light of meaning, language, phenomena, and confidence. I have here explained this. And this is a quote from this text called The Highest Continuum. And he also said, there is no one in this world who is more learned than the victorious one, the Buddha. And here referencing Buddha Shakyamuni. The all-knowing one knows everything and the supreme nature of reality correctly, and others do not completely know it the way Buddha Shakyamuni knows it. Therefore, do not distort the sutras that were established by the Buddha himself. Since this would destroy the sage's system, it would also harm the sacred Dharma. Thus, one should never ever rely on self-fabricated or pretentious teachings. So this is 5.8. Yes, there is a question.
Lopön Lye, I have a question about the Dharma. How about the Dharma? Is it also included in the Tantra?
No. Yes. Dharma is not included in the Tantras. So in part, Kyobpa is addressing the phenomena of dharmas, of treasures. During that time, especially in the 12th century, there's many kinds of excitement. People declaring, I found this treasure, I found that treasure. Just the beginning of the Dharma system in Tibet appearing. So this is Kyobpa's opinion, Rely on the sutras and tantras, principally. So like in the Nyingma system, it's not just dharmas. Nyingma also have what they call kama. Kama is part of tantra. Kama and dharma. Kama is the long lineage. Then dharma is the short lineage. These treasures, these concealed treasures. Of course, dharma, if they are authentic dharmas, and that's one of the issues with dharmas, hard to say, but dharmas that are authentic, then they were concealed by Guru Rinpoche, right? And some other figures, but principally Guru Rinpoche was the one who concealed the dharmas, right? So if they are authentic dharmas, then where did Guru Rinpoche get the dharmas from, right? He got it from the tantras. Then in that way, yes, of course they are part of tantras. But there are many, many, many things, that are called dharmas that are hard to say, are they or not? So there are dharmas, there are treasures, concealed treasures that have deities exactly found in the Kama. But the sadhana may be different, like the words, the wordings. But then these forms are found in the Kama. Then definitely we know, no problem, right? This is according to the Tantras. But if in the dharmas, the forms are different, the deity, a particular deity, sometimes even a completely new deity in some dharmas, then question mark, unsure. Again, Kyobpa Rinpoche is not saying, fake. He says, your main reference point should be what is taught in the sutras and tantras. That's your main reference point. You start there. Be, grounded in that. The dharmas in Tibet did not start until about 11th, 12th century, about the time of Kyobpa Rinpoche. Then it got more and more excited, more and more active, then lots and lots and lots, of dharmas got discovered. And now, many, many, many dharmas. So now let's do dedication. On page 9, let's supplicate Guru Rinpoche. Guru Rinpoche, Buddha of the 3 times great bliss, source of all siddhis, wrathful subduer of maras, who removes all obstacles, grant your blessings, we pray. Through them may all obstacles, outer, inner, and secret, be quelled, and may all our aspirations be fulfilled. Sublime, precious, venerable, and glorious root and lineage gurus, assembly of Idam deities, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas dwelling in the 10 directions, and all assemblies of Viras, Viranis, Yoginis, and Dakinis, please heed me. May the virtues collected in the 3 times by me and the entirety of samsara and nirvana and the inherent root of virtue not result in the 8 worldly dharmas, the 4 causes of samsara and the resultant states of hearers and solitary realizers, and may all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, particularly those enemies who hate us, obstruct us, who harm those who create obstacles, Maras who mislead, and their Mara retinues have happiness, be separated from suffering, and quickly attain the unsurpassed precious Bodhi. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may we benefit sentient beings with body, speech, and mind. May the afflictive thoughts of attachment, aversion, ignorance, pride, and jealousy not arise in my mind stream. May thoughts of name, fame, gain, respect, and so forth this life not arise for even a moment. With my mind stream moistened by love, compassion, and bodhicitta, may I come under the care of virtuous spiritual friends, and having become as limitless as space, may I achieve the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. By the virtues collected in the 3 times by me and the entirety of samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain the unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Bodhi. So a reminder, next week we won't have class. We'll take a week off, break. So during that time, in the morning, if you want, continue, with Aji Sang. Also, you can review, the classes that we have had. So next week, we're going to be off 1 week. Okay, tata everyone.